Morning. We're kind of getting into the massive second wave of seed sowing that always happens about now. So you have the really big push right at the beginning of spring, and then everything goes out, and then you've got to get going again really. And a couple of years we've kind of neglected the second load of sowing, just because you get so distracted by the fact that everything's going great guns and you're only just starting to pick from what you planted in early spring. And you kind of, or we have previously sort of neglected that second wave, and then when all of this lot's over, you're suddenly left with not a lot, and you realise that you've missed it out. So this year we're on it. There's things that we have been just kind of continuously planting. That's things like the carrots and the radishes, spring onions. With the spinach, I've been doing that. I've been whipping it out when it bolts, as you've seen before, and then just sowing more. And because it's such a quick crop, I mean, it's just coming cut and come again. And some of the plants are really well established now, so they'll probably last quite long into the summer. And then some of the other ones are just kind of coming up, being picked and being replaced. But it's such a quick crop, that's not really a problem. But the things that I am doing this proper second wave of now is going to be, so the kohlrabi are up. I've got to pot them up and they're ready to go in when we harvest these ones. And then what else have I got? I'm going to be doing a second wave of beetroot, because the ones that we've got over there are just starting to peek through, so you can see they're going to be pickable within a couple of weeks, so we want the next wave to come through. I'm also going to be sowing pak choy and choy sum in the brassica bed. I'm going to put some more chard in because we had fairly sporadic germination with that. Yeah, so basically it's just quite a lot of sowing. But the first thing I'm going to do is make a cup of coffee because it's quite early and didn't have one at home. Yeah, so what I'm also going to do is we're sort of coming to the end of the first wave of peas that we put in. They tire themselves out quite quick. So I'm going to pick what's left on those, whip them out, and then just plant the ones, like a vlog ago, I set some more peas off. I'm going to just plant them back round the same teepee that they're up. So that should give us a second wave. I haven't actually planted up any more of the Monge 2, which I must do. It's a bit dodge on the weather front. We've come up quite early because we've had some really nice sunny mornings, and then by the time we've kind of got ourselves into gear to kind of come up here, it's been pissing down. So basically we've actually managed to get up here this morning, which is an achievement, so that's good. Yeah, so I'm just going to have this cup of coffee and then crack on. Right, coffee and a couple of hobnobs down. I'm ready to start sowing. I've had a couple of questions actually about this mesh that I've been using over the brassicas. It's called soft butterfly netting, and it's been really effective. I mean, we've had loads of cabbage white butterflies fluttering around, but nothing's actually got in yet. Since I had to pick all those caterpillars off and we fed them to the chickens, we've been pretty clear. I'm sowing in here some pak choy and some choy sum. I normally sow my pak choy quite late around this sort of time. I did sow some of the choy sum earlier in the year, but when we had that really hot dry spell, it just bolted immediately. So we basically just kind of shredded what it had produced and whipped it out. So I'm having another go now, slightly later. Having said that, I have actually got some pak choy up in a salad mix that I'm growing up in the top bed, which has done really well. But I think that's because the bed is really shaded. So maybe next year I might try sowing some earlier, but put them in the shady bed and see what happens. They seem to have really enjoyed it this year. This morning I'm also going to be doing a bit more spinach, like I said. I've just whipped out a load from here this morning that had all gone to seed, so I just put a few more in. First lot is going to be Americana. Second lot, Monopa. I don't know if you can see just on the left hand side, that's the previous lot I sowed in the vlog 2 weeks ago. It's all coming up looking really strong and healthy.
Hello, little chap.
Right, on my agenda today is sorting the peas out. You can see they've been snapped down. Wood pigeons keep landing on them and trying to eat the peas. So they've got kind of battered, and I've tried to tie them up again, but it sort of doesn't really work. You can see the evidence of them in here. Nice. But there are still some good peas on here. I'm going to kind of strip these, and you can see they've been snipping the ends off these. Yeah, I'm going to strip them. I'm going to have a look how they're growing, because I might just chop them off at the bottom and see if they're going to regrow at all. I've got plenty of space at the moment because the potatoes are coming out, so I'm not sort of pushed for space. I might just give them another chance. These are the Monge 2. You can see they're just being snipped off now, which is a shame. But they have been really fantastic this year and really prolific. Yeah, so there's still some good pods on here. Part of the problem when they collapsed when the pigeons landed on them and I tied them back up again, they really, I kind of tied all the peas inside them, so they're a bit difficult to get at. I'm working from the top of the plant down, and then as I'm taking the peas off, I'm just chopping the plants back as I go. You can see I've taken quite a lot off. I am going to actually leave these and see what they do. Like I say, I'm not short on space, and there is a lot of new growth coming at the bottom here, so I'm just going to feed them, give them a really, really good soak, and see what happens. Yeah, there's little buds appearing everywhere. There was a couple of totally snapped plants on the back of this one, but I've just taken them out. And then instead of replacing what's already there, I've just made another teepee, and I'm going to plant my second lot of tall telephones in here. You saw me sowing these just a couple of weeks ago. They've grown really, really fast. They look like really strong plants, so even if what I've cut back doesn't really rejuvenate, we've still got these as backup. It's Friday. I'm going to be planting some more basil today. Look, you can see how much it's grown. This is the Thai one, and I've got a load of space just in here. And I'm going to put some more in. This is the one I'm going to be planting up though. It is called Sweet Green, and it's loving it in here. I've been picking this like crazy, pesto coming out of my ears, which is nice. Huge big leaves and loads of flavour. And these are the purple ones. I got a couple of these in here last week, so they're really enjoying it too. I'm really pleased with how this polytunnel is growing this year. It's really exceeded my expectations. So I've got this little bit of space along the left hand side underneath the tomatoes. I was going to be planting some more chilies in here, but actually I've decided to keep them in pots at home. As the tomatoes are kind of being cleared, lifting the leaf canopy from the base, I'm getting loads of space underneath. So I'm just going to fill it with basil, really. It seems to absolutely love it in here, so I can't complain. I love basil, so that's really good. And I've got these plugs which I sowed about a month ago. They're looking really strong. There's about 3 plants in each plug. I'm just going to put them in as is. The ones I planted on the other side have sort of, if I just let them grow, they would be about 3 foot by now. I've been harvesting so much of them and they're still looking lush. So, and really I think you probably can't have too much basil. So I'm pretty pleased with that. As the tomato canopy is being lifted, as I kind of trim the leaves off from lower down, I'm gaining loads of space underneath. So I might even try some coriander in here. I don't have a rose for this watering can, and just pouring water straight on can really disrupt the soil. So I just use my hand to sort of moderate the flow. You can use your fingers to change the flow of the water, which is quite handy. It's like having an adjustable hose on the end. If you splay your fingers, you can kind of get a bit of a waterfall effect. Because if I do it like this, you see it really does churn up the soil. Looking good. So that's the basil in. You can see we have got so many tomatoes on these plants. I'm so excited. There's just masses of them. And they're getting tall. So the winter squash are growing like crazy up this frame. I've just stuck a bit of parsley in the front here to fill up a bit of space. But along this edge, I planted a load of radishes just because I've got really into radishes this year. And just been kind of saying, oh, I've got a bit of glass there. But these are, I've been picking these like crazy and they're brilliant. You can see they're kind of coming up in different stages. These ones will be all out of here within a couple of weeks. So I'm going to sow some more today to make sure I've got my fix of radishes. Actually, somebody told me, when I posted on Instagram about radishes, somebody told me about roasting them, and it's been a bit of a revelation. Something quite nice about radishes is you only need like the tiniest bit of space, and so I'm planting them along the side of the peas that I planted earlier in the week. I'm doing Cherry Belle, Flamboyant 3, which I quite like, which looks like a breakfast radish, and this one, which is a white one, which is called Albina. So you can just kind of stick some radishes in any gap you've got, really, which is really handy. Because they're out of the ground so fast. They from sowing to harvest, it's about a month. So Morning. I am in the greenhouse this morning. I've got to sort of do a bit of a tidy because the melons on this side and the cucumbers on this side are growing like crazy. And earlier on in the lockdown vlogs, I put some plastic mesh at the back of their pots to help them grow up. Well, now they've well and truly reached the top of that. So I've been putting these string lines in attached to this. I'll show you how I've been doing that, and I'm just going to do a little bit more lacing today and tie them in to try and kind of get them up that way because they're getting really entangled with each other, so I'm just going to try and avoid that. In terms of varieties, we've got 3 different cucumber varieties growing, which is Pictorial, which is a green snacking cucumber, doesn't get massive but it's kind of looks like a classic cucumber. We've got one called Crystal Lemon, which is kind of a round apple shaped one which goes yellow and it's really quite bristly, I'll show you that. And we've also got one called Manduria, which is sort of an elongated egg shaped with kind of delicate stripes on it, very pretty cucumber. This one's a Pictorial. You see what I mean about it looking like a classic cucumber? We've got masses of them coming. And let me see if I can find a Manduria. Yeah, there's a couple of them in here. Do you see those really pretty little stripes on them? They're really gorgeous, really lovely. And then that bulbous one in there with the prickles. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, that one is the Crystal Lemon. Looks vicious, doesn't it? But yeah, we're inundated with cucumbers at the moment, which I'm not complaining about. Another one. Spiky. On this side, I've got 5, no I haven't. On this side, I've got 4 Minnesota midget melons growing. They've also reached the top, so I'm going to start trying to thread them up. Also, there's been a few extra additions in here. I've got 2 plants from my sister which are called tree tomatoes. I've read pretty mixed reviews about them, that if they're on a go a year, like they're going to be really good, then they're absolutely fantastic, and if it's a poor year, they do absolutely nothing. Well, at the moment I do actually have, sorry, I've got string in my face. At the moment we do actually have tomatoes on them and they are getting quite tall, so I'm going to just thread them in as well and we'll see what happens to them. Can you see behind me? These are the aubergines that I potted up in vlog, insert which vlog it was now. Yeah, so back then when I potted them up, well, they've grown massive. Actually, they've grown way bigger than they did last year. So last year I had them on this surface too, and they didn't really reach up to here until quite late in the season. Well, we haven't even had our first aubergine yet and they've reached the top. So I'm going to have a bit of a rearrange. Just in here, we've got the first fruit of the year. Can you see that? I won't bend him up too much in case I snap him, that would make me cry. But yeah, loads of flowers. We've got more over that side. Some just in there. Can you see the flowers in that one? There's one. And some more coming up here. If they get much taller, I'm going to have to put them on the floor going down the centre of the greenhouse, and then we'll just have to walk around them and try not to knock them because they're a bit big. I don't know if you remember, I've got 3, no I haven't, I've got 4 varieties of aubergine growing this year, which was long purple, kind of says what it does on the tin, it's like a long purple one. We've got black pearl, which is totally spherical and very, very black, and then there's one that's called Black Beauty, which is more purple and kind of looks like a classic aubergine that you would get in the supermarket. And we've also got one which I've never grown before called Tiger, which is orange and black, and the aubergines are normally about egg size apparently, so got loads of flowers on them. Obviously haven't seen the fruit yet, but that's going to be quite exciting. So anyway, what am I doing? Restringing the top. I'm going to sort out the cucumbers and the melons, kind of untangle them a bit and tie them in, and have a look at the aubergines. And that's about it really. It's incredibly hot in here too, so if you just see me getting increasingly sweaty throughout the video, I apologise. God, it's so windy, it's actually windy in the greenhouse. So these are what I'm using. You put them into the recess in the aluminium of the frame of the greenhouse, and then you twist them sideways so that clips on, and then you can put your string through this little area here. They work quite well, and as the plants attach to them and pull them tighter, it only gets stronger, so they're pretty useful. I'm going to be stringing another load of these up now. So because they work by being pulled tight, they really don't like any kind of twist action. So when you're trying to tie things up going laterally across the roof, I find it better to make a little cross when you're putting the string across, and then you tie that in separately to the hole, because if you try and tie it through and tie it, you're just twisting it and then it tends to fall out. And just like that, it's Monday again. I'm going to just pot up some of the kohlrabi that I sowed in the last vlog. They're pretty big, aren't they? Some of them have got their true leaves and everything. So they're really, really leggy in here. I'm going to just pop them up into these little pots here. It's only like a midway point, but I don't have enough compost to put them all into sort of the standard size pots that I would at this stage, and compost isn't that easy to come by at the moment, so I'm just going to put them up into this as sort of an intermediate, and then once they've grown into that, I'll just stick them in the bigger pots before they go in the ground. So I'm just going to pot these up. I want them to be, in an ideal world, they would be buried up until that first like leaf node, but because I'm putting them into smaller pots, for some of them that's not going to be the case. But what I'm going to do first off is just take them all out of this pot and lay them in there, and then backfill them as far as possible. Normally you'd put a bit of soil in the bottom and then put them in, but I want these to be in as deep as they possibly can be. So I'm just going to put them in bare and then fill them from that point. So where that one is, it's about there that I want the compost to be. You see, this is ideally what you would want them to look like, a really good true leaf. Some of them don't, but it's not the end of the world. I'm pretty pleased with that. Some of them are a little bit early to be potted on, but I need to give some of them away, and so they do need to be in individual pots. So not ideal timing. They should all really have that extra, at least one true leaf. But it's not going to do them any harm, and it's a good intermediate spot. And like I say, I just didn't have enough compost to pot them up into proper long pots. So these are going to have a good water and then go in the cold frame. And then by the time we've picked all the rest of the kohlrabi, these will be ready to replace them.
That's a magnificent looking. It is ready to come though, look.
Yep.
Thank you. Starring roll.
So yeah, like I say, it is Monday, and that is the end of the week again. Yeah, so mostly sewing this week. Had a lot of that to do. But on the news front, the coriander, as you know, I have terrible time with coriander, but look at that. That's pretty good. And I've already picked quite a lot of this, given it a good, you can see quite a lot of it's had its heads chopped off. And it smells incredible. Yeah, so that's quite a success. Like you saw, everything's going great guns in the greenhouse and the polytunnel. Things are really taking off around and about on the allotment as well. Still really hoping that the beans are going to recover. Now looks like I've also got, well, we get mosaic virus every year, but this year, I mean, I couldn't even identify it as Do you know what? I've got aeroplanes going over, the man's drilling. Yeah, I'm going to have to take this inside. That's a bit better. Sorry, change of location. The guy who's using the chainsaw has been joined by somebody using an angle grinder. So I can't hear myself think, let alone you being able to hear me. So I've just nipped upstairs to say, if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, do subscribe. I don't know if you noticed, this is the first vlog where I haven't called it a lockdown vlog. I figure the pubs are open. If the pubs are open, it's not really a lockdown anymore. So now we're just on to standard vlog. Yeah, lucky 13, we're out of lockdown. So unfortunately, all the noise and the running around, and it's still only like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so I can't even have a glass of wine to get over it. Yeah, so on that note, I will see you next week.